Welcome to my little storage basket. I'll call it little trough there. Hello, orientalis, which I do like to use in hanging baskets, by the way. Now, I don't have any to show you. I like to do this often for something. As I see damage can form. But in this case, I am definitely going to how much would it have cost if I went to Well, I don't know if I recommended this book or not as a Christmas present, but it's definitely a wonderful New Year's present. It is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I am completely obsessed with this book. And by the way, you guys, typically when I find a book that I'm interested in, I will check it out from the library first if it's available, and then if I really like it, I'll go ahead and buy it. Definitely, if you are interested in changing some habits, then this is a book you're going to want to buy, not just loan from your library, because I have all sorts of things underlined. I've got pages dog-eared, because it's all about tiny changes, remarkable results. It's one of the better habit formation books that I have ever read. James Clear is wonderful, and it has really great recommendations on the back, which also kind of motivated me to go ahead and buy it. So I would highly recommend this. And in accordance with some of the advice in this book, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results, I thought I would share 7 things that I am doing this year to make my life easier in the next 365 days in the year ahead. So these are going to be, I'm going to go through them, 7 tiny changes with 7 remarkable results. Now, obviously, you guys probably have your own recommendations that you want to make, and that's my question of the day, because it's all about trying to be the best version of ourselves. I know that sounds kind of corny, but nevertheless, I really feel inspired at the new year to be the best version of myself in both spiritual, physical, mental, all sorts of ways. I want to be the best version of myself. So therein lies my motivation for developing some new habits. So this is going to be a whole thing about 7 tiny changes with 7 remarkable results, I hope. Now, the things that I've selected are based on what I consider to be, for me, the impediments that keep me from living more easily and effortlessly, and also in a better, more healthy way. Starting with, I think I shared with you that on Christmas Day, I ended up in the ER in Colorado, and I have a stomach condition that flares up periodically, and because it was the holidays, I just wasn't very good about packing, and I left the medication that I need to take. When I had these kind of flare-ups, I left them at home, and I wasn't organized enough to have them with me, and I couldn't get them because it was the Christmas weekend, and I couldn't get new prescriptions, and all the 24-hour pharmacies were closed. So that leads me in a roundabout way to my very first 7 remarkable changes from habits, and that is I'm going to be more prepared. Another impediment I have is that sometimes I'm not very good about going on little short sojourns or vacations or things like that because I hate to pack. So that's my impediment that I identified. I hate to pack. So what I'm trying to do, and I've been doing this, but now I'm going to improve upon it. I keep a small train bag packed with all the toiletries and makeup items I need so that I can just leave town on a whim. And I'll try to put a link to this Mark, it looks like a Mark Cross case, but it's a train case from Mark and Graham. And I keep all of the things that I need, my toiletries, my makeup, and all sorts of different things in it. Now, one thing that I'm going to keep in here religiously, because otherwise I will forget to pack it, is the medication that I need whenever I go out of town. I may need it, I might not, but I'm going to feel more secure when I do leave town if I have it. So I've got a duplicate of my prescriptions that I will keep in here all of the time so that I never forget them. And then I am not only ready to go with my makeup bag and all of my toiletries and such, but I'll also have my medications in place. Another thing that I'm going to do, which I will share with you a little bit later, is making sure that I have all of the proper documentation for my prescriptions, for my husband's prescriptions, our vaccination records, and I'm going to show you how I keep all of that organized. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to upgrade my cosmetic bag that will be ready to roll whenever I am. I'm also going to do that with other items in my regular suitcase. So while I've always kept duplicates of my toiletries and things of that nature in my cosmetic bag, I haven't kept duplicates of other things. So, not to be indelicate, I'm going to treat myself this year to a whole brand new set of bras and underwear and workout socks, etc., that I will keep in here at all times. So I won't have to pack them. All I will then have to pack are the outfits that I'm going to be wearing on that trip. So this will be ready to go. My husband will be thrilled because I won't have that impediment of hating to pack to keep me from living my best big life. So that is my recommendation number one. Really upgrade your preparation. Be prepared so that when you're ready to go out of town, you can do it effortlessly. Let me know if you're going to try this on day one of our 7-day challenge. Well, on day 2 of this 7-day organizational bonanza, I'm going to try to help myself get a little bit more digitally organized. Remember the good old days when all we had to do was just clean out our drawers and our closets and our junk drawer? Now we've got to do that same thing with all of our digital assets. So that would include your phone and all of your chargers and things. So along the same lines of being ready to rock and roll if I want to go out of town, I'm keeping a mesh bag filled with all different varieties of chargers that I might need for my phone, for my iWatch, for my laptop, whatever I need. I keep them all in a little mesh bag. They're duplicates of the originals that I keep at home, and I will have this along with my other luggage and my other takeaways so that I can be ready to travel on a moment's notice. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm going through and trying to really clean up and streamline my phone. So I've gotten rid of a lot of apps that I don't use, or I have organized those apps. And one app I find absolutely indispensable if you use an iPhone, it's called the Notes app. If you have a different kind of Android, then a different kind of smartphone, there might be something equivalent, but it's just the Notes app. And within that, I create all sorts of different folders that really keep me organized. So one thing that I've done is I have one folder that is just strictly medical information. So I have all of Hub's prescriptions listed. I've got all of my prescriptions listed. I've got a copy of our vaccination records. I've got a copy of our insurance cards. All of that information is in the Notes app. So if for some reason I lose my wallet or I need to find out immediately what medications my husband is on, I've got them all in a neat folder under medical information in my Notes app. And I use this in so many fun ways. Stuart can tell you, I love quotations and I love just words in general. So I have a separate folder that I call quotations, so that if ever I want to go back and ruminate on some topic or whatever, then I might have a quotation that I've already got in my little inventory. I've got something that I call personal superpowers. I've got a folder called personal superpowers. And whenever I come up with an idea or some advice or whatever it is, I put that in my superpowers folder, because later on when I'm struggling with some kind of issue or whatever, I can go back to that folder and there might be some little bit of wisdom in there that will help me feel a little bit better. Obviously, you can use all sorts of different categories. I've got one called recipes I want to try. I've got one if I want to track all of my bills. I keep a record of every bill that comes in. You can use photographic information in here. I can do a screenshot and put it in that specific category. So it has helped me tremendously stay organized, and it's all right here in my handheld device. Well, my desk is an absolute mess. I am once again rearranging my office, and I'll show that to you a little bit later on what I've got in mind. But I'm getting ready to clean off my desk and do a couple of other things on this day 3 of my challenges to get myself organized and simplify my life for the new year. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my entire email inventory, and anything that is just not that necessary, I am going to unsubscribe from every one of those websites that I subscribed to get a discount, or because I thought it was something I might find interesting later. And all that's doing is just cluttering up my inbox. So I'm going to take the time. One day I'll get a cup of hot tea, maybe a crumpet or a scone or something. I'll make it as charming as possible. And then I'm going to just go through the monotony of looking at all of the things that I've signed up for and unsubscribing from any that no longer interest me. And even though I hope you are subscribed to my email, and if you're not, go to lindavater.com and subscribe. If my email or my subscription is in your inventory of ones you don't want to look at anymore, then I just encourage you to unsubscribe from me. That will really clear out a lot of the mess and give you a lot more clarity, and definitely a lot more time when you go through your emails. Another thing that I really recommend, and I discovered this because when my parents were, when I was paying all the bills and taking care of my parents' paperwork and such, I had all of their mail forwarded to me. Consequently, I started getting all sorts of junk mail on every topic imaginable, all sorts of catalogs and things of that nature. Well, there's a program called catalogchoice.com, and you can take a snapshot of it, upload it, and it will then ultimately, hopefully, stop you from repeatedly getting those unwanted things, those unwanted pieces of junk mail in your mailbox. So you might try that. Try unsubscribing from anything you're no longer interested in, both physically through Catalog Choice and also in your digital life. Well, as you're going through your closet, make a special category for those things that need to be either altered or in some way changed. And I'm going to really fuss at Stuart on this one, Stuart, because one of those things on this day 4 of kind of getting your act together is to have any shoes, belts, bags, anything of that nature that needs to be mended. Take them to your shoe repair place, take them to wherever it is that you go, so that you will really use those things in your closet that you're not using right now because they're either too big or they're broken or they need to be altered. So I've got 3 things in my category. You guys know I love to thrift, and periodically I'll find really beautiful, great belts and things of that nature, but they're huge, either because they were a men's belt or they're just too large for me. So I've got a whole category of belts that I'm going to take. I'm going to have them put some more holes in them and do it professionally. I'm going to have some of them actually shortened and re-sewn so that they aren't quite as large. I've got some hunter boots that need repair. You can see here how the buckle on this side has become detached. I'm going to take this. I'm just going to have a great big box filled with things that I take to the shoe repair place. I'm also going to have another category of clothing items that I'm going to take that need to be altered. I haven't worn them because they're too big or they're too small or something about them just doesn't fit right. Because I'm somebody who will often pay, gosh, $4 or $5 for something that I find that I think is a great buy at the thrift store, and then sometimes spend a lot to alter it. But if that makes me wear it and that makes it valuable in my wardrobe, then I think it's more than worth the expense. So I bought this Calvin Klein trench coat a while ago. I found that I haven't worn it, and it's simply because it's just too big. So I'm going to take this to my alteration lady. I'm going to have the sleeves shortened, and I've got a couple of other things that are just a little bit too big, and I want them to have kind of a more tailored look. It really ups the ante, and I think really ups your style because it makes it look like things are so much more form-fitting and expensive. So that is my recommendation number 4. Take the time, get it all in one location, and then take them to the shoe repair place or to your alteration and tailor location to get those things fixed, so you'll absolutely and positively refresh your wardrobe and use them in the new year. Well, most of us probably have eating healthier on our resolution list for 2022, and I am one of those. This past year, I just have had very little interest in cooking, and I want to start cooking a little bit more again, not only because it's healthier, but also because I don't want to lose cooking as kind of a basic life skill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 3 new healthy, delicious meals that I keep in my regular meal rotation. And I'm going to go through my cookbooks and I'm going to identify 3 of them. I might even have Hubs help me with that. We have all of these cookbooks that seldom ever get used, and so this will be a way that I can keep it manageable. I can keep this resolution in bite-sized bits, and I can also, it's kind of a twofer, because then I will also be eating more healthily, but also exercising my cooking muscle. So I'm going to select 3 meals out of these that I pretty much always have the ingredients on hand for to add into my regular meal rotation. So that is my recommendation number 5. You guys, please let me know if you've got anything that's just an easy, healthy, throw it together weeknight meal. Let me know what your recipe is, and I'll share mine with you a little bit later in the month. Well, if there's one single thing that you could do to really get you motivated to get organized for 2022, my recommendation would be to clean out your junk drawer. Because I know you have one, we all have one, and even though I regularly tidy it up, it nevertheless gets overwhelmed with pens and just all sorts of just junk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this out. I'm going to get rid of the thousands of pens that are in here. I don't need that many. I'm going to make sure that I have the contents that I do need in here in terms of rubber bands and thumbtacks and things of that nature. But then I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to talk a little bit more softly because I don't want Hubs to hear this. I am always looking for things like tape measures and my tape and things like that, and then he will take them out of the door and he doesn't put them back, and then I can't find them. So I'm going to hide them at the back where only I will know where they are, and he will just have to have his own in his new office upstairs. Sometimes you have to keep certain things from your spouse, and this is one of them. So I'm going to hide my tape measure, which is always being taken, my downstairs phone charger, which is always being taken, and other kinds of things like that that just mysteriously disappear when I need them most. And I'm going to hide those at the back. So there you go. Clean out your junk drawer. Make sure that you have on hand what you want when you want it, and categorize things and organize things in your junk drawer according to the way your household rocks and rolls. Well, my seventh organizational method might seem a little bit lame, but it really works for me, and it's so simple, but it has drastically transformed my life. And that is, we all have areas where stuff just collects. Papers, bills, mail, for me sometimes candles, just any kind of the detritus of life. It's just it just collects in different places on almost any flat surface. Well, I've got one area, it's right by my junk drawer, and that's where stuff just seems to collect, and I'm constantly going through that pile, and it's kind of unsightly. So what I've started doing is I just keep a basket there now. That way I can easily remove the entirety of my pile and relocate it someplace else so that it's not in the way until I have a chance to do a deep dive into what all is in that basket. So right now I've got mail that belongs to my neighbors, I've got lists, I've got just different kinds of things in here. And for some reason, just having it contained in a basket makes me feel as if it's a little bit more manageable, and I don't have it spread out all over the place. So try that. Any place, any surface you have where things just collect, try just using a large basket to corral it all. And finally, this is kind of a bonus one that I'm really working on, again, from experience, because I got sick over the holidays. I think partially also attributed to the fact that I was pretty dehydrated, and that's I'm trying to improve and increase my water intake. So this is a funny little tip, but I've been doing it for the past 5 days, and it's really made a difference. I always have ice water with me to take a sip, and I'll take one sip and then I'll put it back down. Well, now I am trying to train myself that whenever I lift it up to take a sip, instead of just taking one sip, I take 5, and that way I am multiplying 5 times how much water I get throughout the course of the day. It doesn't really take any more time. It's satisfying. It's a no biggie, but I have found just that one simple little thing has really made me more mindful of drinking more fluids, water in particular, and it will just keep me hydrated going into the gardening season. So there you go, some tips that I hope you might try to employ to make your life a little bit easier. Identify those impediments and try to do an end around. And make sure to share in the comments below any other brilliant tips, techniques, and organizational things that you might have that will make all of our lives better and easier in 2022. Well, here is my outfit of the day. This is what I think of as organizational leisure. It's all about being comfy and cozy today because it is 13 degrees outside. It finally decided to get cold, and so I am warm and snug inside, getting my New Year resolutions on, and so I really just want to be comfy cozy in doing so. So I've just got on an H&M sweatshirt. I've got on some joggers that came from Target. Do I have earrings on? Yes, I have some earrings on. Oh, these were a gift from Hubs when he came back from a trip recently. And yes, I do wear earrings even when I'm just working around the house, because it's one of my little joys of each day is selecting a pair of earrings to wear. My socks, I can't remember where they're from. They are just one of my favorite things to wear around the house when it's cold. I just like to wear thick socks. And then if I do slip on some slippers, I love these, you guys. I discovered these this summer. They're from Amazon. They're just such comfortable slippers. They're really cushiony, and they come in a multitude of really, really fun colors. I have given, I don't know how many pair of these as gifts. So if I do have to slip on some slippers to run out to the mailbox or something like that, I've got these. So there is my very exciting outfit of the day.